All right, so completing the first round. The next round consists of Boy Meets World versus Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, Recess versus That's So Raven, Lizzie McGuire versus The Proud Family, and Phineas and Ferb versus Kim Possible. As we've done in every episode, we will now start from the bottom and go up to the top, starting with the number 2 seeded Kim Possible and the number 7 seeded Phineas and Ferb. I will close this one out as well. Will, if you would like to start.
Again, I've only seen limited Phineas and Ferb, and I've liked what I've seen from that show. But I think that the show is, from what I've seen, I've only seen like 3 or 4 episodes. A little bit one-dimensional. It kind of just has the same shtick. Kim Possible kind of goes a little deeper than that, and I thought that Kim Possible was a little bit funnier with the writing and everything. Man, I forget that. I like Shigo. I like Shigo. Oh no, the villain. And what's the dude's name? Why am I forgetting all these people's names?
Like
what
the main
he worked
dude?
for? Yeah,
Ron?
I can't believe him. No, villain. Shigo, and then the dude that'll always
what his name
swear that. Yeah, I know. I'm horrible. Yeah, please make fun of me in the chat. But I really enjoyed pretty much every episode of Kim Possible that I watched. I just thought it was a really good, solid, entertaining show. And I got to move it on here. I don't see why we would lose to Phineas and Ferb.
This is it's a weird bracket, man. It's a little upsetting not to see a whole lot of upsets. But I think we kind of each picked upsets at different times. Same with Chad, kind of picked some different upsets, but it just I think some of the stronger shows just were a little bit stronger, and some of them were a lot stronger. And I think Phineas and Ferb had a nice following, but man, Kim Possible. I mean, I watch every episode of Kim Possible for sure. It had some fun characters. It was good, really, really good action. They had some unique things that they did. It's a strong show in this bracket. So I'm going Kim Possible here.
Hey, hang on. Sorry, Kevin, before you start, I always forget. How can I forget the theme song? I mean, the theme song I think is one of the most iconic in the entire bracket, sung by Christina Milian. I mean, catchiest thing. I had that text tone.
That needs to be a button.
It's seriously
you singing it.
And I had that text tone at one time. That I mean, so iconic. You immediately know that's Kim Possible. Oh, yeah. So go ahead.
So, those are all points that I was going to make. But, yeah, Kim Possible, like I said, for me is one of my favorite cartoons of all time. Phineas and Ferb is fine. It's good. It was good enough to beat Gargoyles. But for me, Kim Possible, and Chad agrees, moves on here. The 3-seeded Lizzie McGuire versus the number 6-seeded The Proud Family. Again, I don't have a whole lot to say about Proud Family because I didn't watch a lot of it. I did watch Lizzie McGuire, the Lizzie McGuire movie. So almost by default, Lizzie McGuire moves on for me here.
I didn't watch a lot of Lizzie McGuire. I do remember their music though pretty well. Like that's like one thing I'll take away. Like obviously the Proud Family had a very cool hip hop vibe to it. And they involved I think they pretty much in almost every other episode had a song that was involved. And it was done pretty well. It didn't feel like it was cheesy to me for some reason. And this is just me just watching a few episodes tonight. That kind of stood out to me, I think, a little more than Lizzie McGuire. And that's not a knock on Lizzie McGuire. I think it's a fine show. And I thought it was pretty creative too. I just thought that the Proud Family was a little more creative. And again, we didn't really see a show that was centered around black characters a lot. And this is one of those few shows that kind of brought that. So I'll move Proud Family along in a close one.
Yeah, no, this is a really good matchup. It's a good matchup. I think that it had a huge cult following, the both of them, but I think that they were a little less on the cult following than some of these other shows that we see on this bracket. Man, this is scary though. Man, I think Will made some good points there. I think I'm gonna go Proud Family. I think it sneaks this little nice little upset here over Lizzie McGuire. I think though Lizzie McGuire had some interesting stuff, I think the Proud Family just what it had. A lot of the writing was maybe a little bit stronger than the Lizzie McGuire show. I'm gonna go Proud Family on this.
Fair enough. Chat
Man,
agrees.
it's
And
scary to
it's okay.
scary to agree with Will so much.
So this is a good matchup, I think.
Why
too.
not?
And I know I didn't
Why not?
I didn't vote for that So Raven, but I think this is a good matchup too. Only because, like I said, Buzz Lightyear was the one that took That's a Raven on. But Recess, the number 5 Recess was the number 4 That's a Raven. I think this is a really good matchup. One of the better ones that we've had so far. Like I said, Recess, absolutely classic, cult following of its own. and That's a Raven, which again, Garrett, you made the point in the last round. Again, I was a little blinded by Buzz Lightyear, but very kind of unique approach to the TV shows. And I think for me, why I go Recess versus That's a Raven is while That's a Raven had some character development, it almost was a little one-dimensional in their catchphrases. You had the main character that was smart and funny. Then you had the ditzy, best friend. You had the not so smart guy best friend, and then you had the brother. And it just was like a stereotypical show in that sense. And for me, Recess, you just had all those different characters. And like I said, for the generation that I resonated with, I think for me Recess just did more and kind of does more. When I look back at the nostalgia factor, I think for me Recess takes that.
Kevin, I have to echo pretty much everything you just said there. Like I won't go and repeat that. I agree 100% with everything you just said.
That's a first.
Recess.
Wow, yeah, really?
But
Wait.
Recess is, I think, one of the best shows in this entire
Clip
bracket.
that.
Totally one of the best shows. Honestly, I actually find a lot of similarities with like Recess and Hey Arnold in the Nickelodeon bracket. Just a lot. They kind of have that. They had that slice of life, and I think that combined with all the pop culture references and the brilliant writing, and also just episodes that focus on each character. Again, you get to see a little more of the character, I think, than you do in That's So Raven. I think That's So Raven, you get to see, it's really just kind of Raven Simone from what I've seen. You know the other characters, but you don't necessarily get individual episodes about those characters. Yeah. So I think that's kind of the difference here.
Man, this is really scaring me now. I've got to. I'm with you guys, man. I think That's a Raven. It was a lot about her, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But I think if you're looking at taking a show and giving the pop star, I think that she was not as big as Hannah Montana, Miley Cyrus. Man, Recess had some good characters in it, even the small ones like the Ashleys, the 4 Ashleys going, you say it with me, scandalous. Man,
you can't forget that.
Fun stuff, man. They had good characters in the show. It's King Bob, the 5th or 6th grader that ran Recess. He had a recliner in a jungle gym. You know what I mean? It's
Randall.
solid stuff, man. I'm going Recess here.
Perfect. Chat agrees as well. So on to the number 1 seeded Boy Meets World versus number 9 seeded Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. Garrett, why don't you start this one for us?
Yeah, dude, absolutely. Man, I actually watched more, I would say more times Sweet Life than I did Boy Meets World. I've seen Boy Meets World one time through. Fantastic show. There's a lot of great characters in both. This is a really, really fun matchup. I think that it comes down to in here because I think they had a really strong amount of characters. But man, Boy Meets World, and I love upsets. I love upsets, but man, Boy Meets World is just it's a lot different than what we're seeing on this list. It's more of the you're not really getting any of that cartoony, as much childish feel.
It was our childhood sitcom. That's what it was.
Yeah, no, it's right.
It was
right.
our
No, it
soap
totally
opera.
was. But yeah, exactly. It was more along the lines of like a kid's version of Friends, right? It was a fantastic show. Probably the biggest cult following on this list. I would say in any of the 4 brackets that we
I
see,
would
it's
agree.
probably one of the biggest. It might have been the biggest, but yeah, man, it's a great show. I'm going Boy Meets World on this, but though I love Zach and Cody and the characters, I mean Mosby might be honestly one of the best characters in this Disney bracket. I think overall, the owner of the general manager of the
Tipton.
hotel, he's I think he's one of the best characters in the entire bracket, man. But yeah, got to go Boy Meets World.
This one's not really close. Boy Meets World, pretty much all day, every day. I think you just kind of got more life lessons out of it. Definitely, I think more character development out of that show. Sweet Life's not a bad show, but it is not Boy Meets World in any world or galaxy or universe. Boy Meets World, lock it in.
Got him.
Lock it in. Wait, that's his catchphrase, right?
Oh, we're gonna
Lock it in.
we'll get
That
it.
was Brody's catchphrase, actually.
So-
Shout out to Brody if
Brody's,
you're watching. Yeah.
Brody's.
Quick sidebar with you guys, and you can put this in if you want. You can put this in if you don't want to. Thinking about Boy Meets World, it's a show we all love. It's a show that has a huge cult following. It is also a show that is unlike any single show in this bracket. This is partially why we moved things like Avatar, Dragon Ball Z, and I know I'm saying this in hindsight. I don't see it losing, just so we're clear. I don't see it losing by.
I don't know about that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't count your chickens before they hatch. my guy.
Regardless,
I mean, it's a good show,
That
but
is not the point here. The point,
Okay.
the point
Go ahead.
Is,
Go ahead.
is that it is very much unlike any show in this bracket.
sure.
And
Okay.
I struggled to continue talking about it against shows like Sweet Life, Recess, things like that. And I love Recess. Like I said, I love all these shows. But I struggle, and I think in hindsight, may have been the wrong choice to put on this. That's just my hindsight.
Keep the
I
tournament
wouldn't
going.
put.
Yeah, keep it going.
I would definitely cut that out of the video there, Will.
Yes.
I almost messaged you both and was like shocked to see this on here. I ended up not messaging you guys because I let you do your thing. But yeah, I was a little shocked because of how different it is. I mean, look at all the shows
I was
here.
just trying to find it out, and I couldn't find one. So.
But I'll tell you what, if it's on here, it's a 1 seed. So
Anyway, we'll
it's
continue.
for sure
I
the
just-
1 seed.
I had to make the point.
For clarification, Disney did have the syndication rights to it. It originally aired on ABC, but then Disney
Oh,
and
was it
ABC
Disney
was
on
owned by
ABC?
Disney,
Yeah.
but then Disney Channel did the syndication of it later when we were growing
You're
up.
right. I had to air my dirty laundry there. Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
So
Go
moving on to the number 2 seeded Kim Possible versus the number 6 seeded Proud Family. Garrett, you go ahead.
A lot of these are fun matchups, but man, it's tough to put the upsets. I think this is the hardest of the 4 brackets to give an upset. I think the top shows are
It's top
so
heavy.
strong. Yeah, it is very top heavy, and there is a big gap. That being said, as good and as much as we have fought for Proud Family to make it this far,
This is
because
where
I
it
think
ends.
it deserved to make it, I think it's the end of the road. Kim Possible is a very strong show. Ron is a fantastic character that they very brilliantly put in that show because he is unlike the rest of them. He doesn't know how to fight. He is all comic relief. Even, oh my gosh, what's his name in the tech guy? Even he knows a little bit of fighting over Ron,
Right.
and he's at least smart enough to understand the situations that Kim gets herself into. So that being said, I'm gonna lock it in and put Kim Possible over Proud Family.
Call me, beat me if you want to reach me. I think that's kind of what it comes down to.
There it is.
A little bit. No, I like both these shows a lot. Good matchup. This would be an overtime game possibly, but at the end of the day, Kim Possible, I just think there's just a little more to the show than the Proud Family, and certainly Proud Family is not a bad show by any stretch of the imagination. Like if Kim Possible was on, I was pretty much glued to the TV. I you know, if there was a marathon of Kim Possible, I'd watch it all day long. I just thought it was that good of a show. So I don't see any reason why Kim Possible would lose here.
100% with you. I think for me, it also points to the underdog of Ron when, you know, he finally got the girl. Spoiler
He
alert.
did. He did in the end.
Alert. But
Spoiler!
It was definitely kind of a culmination moment for that show, and I think we all agree that's a clean sweep there. So on to the strong 1 seed of Boy Meets World versus number 5 Recess. I kind of go like what we've talked about. Recess has done a great job to get where it is, and it is an absolute classic show. But Boy Meets World is a 1 seed for a reason. It is a cult following. It is one of the most memed shows. It is unlike any other. I give this to Boy Meets World.
Yeah, man, this is tough. It's I like I said, I watched every single episode of Recess multiple times through growing up. And man, if I think it was really, really low, I think it should have either been the 2 or the 3 seed. I would have loved to see this up against Kim Possible. I think that would have been a really, really, really tough matchup. I think that might have been a little OT matchup there, but yeah, man. Recess has some of my favorite characters, with Miss Finster as one of the best villains, child villains of all time. You know, you really can't get much scarier and frightening than her. But TJ, main character, TJ Detweiler, he's not competing with just the strong cast of Boy Meets World, man. It's just tough. It's a tough matchup. You know, in terms of Recess, I think if TJ was a real life human, he would have found his way past Boy Meets World, but not on the Bracket Bros. Boy Meets World, you got the check mark, man.
Lock it in.
Lock it in.
Say this one is pretty easy because it is clearly Recess. Yeah, I said it. Not so fast, my friends. Not so fast. Boy Meets World, an absolute classic show, probably one of the best of all time. But Recess is right there with it, and I think Recess is actually a better show. To me, it kept my attention more. I think it was more well written. I thought it was funnier. And at the end of the day, you bring up Mrs. Finster. You actually find out in one of the episodes that, you know, she's actually not as bad of a person as she is made out to be. Because one, I think it was Ashley Spinelli, I think, has to stay at her house over like a weekend, and she finds out more about what Miss Finster does with her off time and everything like that. And it's just, you know, you see that, you know, she's not just a mean old lunch lady. She does have a life outside of the school. Yeah, I honestly, this is like no question to me that Recess is actually the winner here for me.
So to read chat, Will.
Yes.
Will, you are the weakest link. Goodbye. Boy Meets World moves on.
I guess. Listen, I had to make my case here. Recess was one of my favorite shows.
No, Recess is one of my favorite shows. I do want to say it's a fantastic show. I think the writing is better than what a lot of people give it credit for.
Yeah, go back and watch it. It's great.
It brought in a lot of like just thought process. They used a lot of things like that you would learn in school, and they brought them into the episodes, similar to how like The Simpsons do, but not in that style, obviously, in more of a kid-friendly style. And they're really like the children's version of Breakfast Club, which I love. It's a really cool concept where you've got the jock, you've got the misunderstood, you've got the bad boy and Spinelli. You know, you got everything really similar to the movie. But
you're talking like the show should win. Just saying.
Because it comes down to the writing, man. The writing of Boy Meets World, the comedy, I think you're wrong on the comedy. I think the comedy of Boy Meets World is so much stronger.
It's stronger than a lot of shows.
Than a lot of shows, let alone Recess. And even
Debatable.
if you want to come down to cult following, you can't debate the cult following
No.
that Boy Meets World has is vastly larger than Recess, and that is why mainly I went back and forth on this one. This is really tough, but I think this is just where Recess ends.
The number 1 Boy Meets World versus the number 2 Kim Possible. Will, why don't you start us off?
Well, again, a little heartbroken about Recess, but as we move on here, I
was just say, give him time to breathe. If you want time to breathe, I
but
can
here, all right. So here's the deal. Both great shows. I know, and unfortunately, we have another 1 versus another 2. But I would have to say here, I would give this to Kim Possible, and the reason I say that is, for me, what I looked in the show. I mean, Boy Meets World had great lessons. Obviously had some of the drama and it's just your typical sitcom stuff. And that's just it. There's a lot of shows out there that are just sitcom based, right? And they kind of follow that same trajectory of, oh, is he going to get the girl in the end and blah, 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 blah. And they're all in a school. And yeah, you could say Kim Possible, yeah, they're at a school, blah, blah, blah. There was just something about battling a supervillain overseas, the character of Ron Stoppable, just kind of growing over time and him being basically comedy relief to, eventual useful sidekick. And he would end up being useful, unconventionally. I wouldn't say it's a no-brainer. I think it's definitely a close matchup, but I'd give the edge to Kim Possible here. I think that it should move on. And by the way, the theme song sells it. That sucks me in every time. Call me, beat me if you want to reach me. Lock it in.
Yeah, no, you do make some great points there on Kim Possible. I think, dude, having a naked mole rat as a main character is hilarious.
Just saying.
Also, my nickname in college.
I was waiting. I was waiting for that.
I kind of assumed Kim was coming this far. If it wasn't, I was going to make it that point in the previous round.
Yeah.
But yes, that was my nickname in college. Rufus, the naked mole rat.
Kind of me because look at him. He looks like a naked.
I mean, right. Well, not anymore, man. Now I can grow some stuff. Here's the thing, though. You talk about the guy that doesn't usually get the girl that gets the girl, right? You could say the same about Boy Meets World because of Topanga. He gets the girl, man. He gets the girl.
Several times.
Several times. And as a kid... you can't ask for, a better love story there. Minkus is fantastic, man. It's just, there's a lot of good characters in Boy Meets World. I think with the episodes that they do, they were able to do a little bit more, with what they had. It's a great show. And I'm going to give it to Boy Meets World. Sorry, Will, but as much as I watch every episode of both of these shows, like I said, a lot of these Disney shows I actually watch a lot of, some multiple times growing up. So you picked somebody good for the Disney side here.
So this, I'm flip-flopping back and forth as we go through this, which is why I wanted to go last. Chat is split down the middle.
Watch this though. Feed it.
So, what I struggle with when I come to this matchup, and I kind of hit on it earlier, whether or not you decide to cut that out or cut out what I'm saying out right now, it's fine too. But what I struggle with is when I think Disney and I think about my childhood, Kim Possible is the show that I think. That is the first show that pops into my head, Kim Possible. And when we added Boy Meets World to this bracket, which it deserves to be in this bracket and should be in this bracket, it had to be the 1 seed because it is, from what Chad is saying and from what Garrett has said, it is the ultimate love story of our childhood. It is our version, or was our version of Friends. And so that's what I struggle with, because I think in terms of representing Disney in this bracket, I think it should be Kim Possible. However, in terms of the actual better show, I think it's Boy Meets World. So ultimately, I'm going to give it to Kim Possible. And I say that solely based on the fact that if I want something to represent Disney when it comes out of this bracket, it's going to be Kim Possible for me. Now it's split down the middle in chat. There's 2 votes. That's how it is. So I don't know.
If I can add maybe a little bit to my to your point and my point, and listen, both great shows, but another thing I look at here is originality. And no, both of these shows aren't complete, rip-offs or originals or anything like that. Obviously, there's shows that came before it that were probably similar. But to me, when I think of Boy Meets World, I see a show that my parents watched, The Wonder Years, and it's pretty much almost the exact same show. In fact, it's even his older brother basically playing the same character. It's Ben Savage in Boy Meets World, then Fred Savage playing this almost the exact same character. Now they're both good shows, don't get me wrong, but I think they're pretty much almost the same show. I could point to certain episodes too and say, wow, those episodes are almost the same episodes. And again, it's not that they ripped each other off. It's just the formula works and a lot of people like it. And hey, it is what it is. So I just think Kim Possible's more original.
If you're going, no, if you're going there, then I could take out Kim Possible without the originality. Here, tell me if you've ever heard of this movie or TV show in your life. There is a superhero who is above average at some sort of martial arts. They have a sidekick of some kind. They have a tech person. They have some sort of a third, wild card, aka naked mole rat in this scenario, which is original that it's a naked mole rat animal and not a human. And then you've got a main villain who is usually very stupid, but their main hench person is the main, the main source of their violence. That's a lot of TV shows and a lot of movies out there. There's Mission Impossible that just even off the top of my head, man, I could come up with a whole list of ton of that exact character line. So
Now,
I'm just saying, originality-wise.
I won't deny that, but were the lead characters female in some of those shows?
Hold, please.
Maybe.
But does that make it original? It makes it amazing.
I think it makes it a little more original to me. I don't know, just to me. And maybe that's just because I prefer maybe a little more of an action than just a normal suburbia setting.
In the essence of being the deciding vote.
Yes.
Because I am. Like I mentioned, I think Boy Meets World is the better show. I think Kim Possible represents Disney better. However, in the essence of voting purely based on the better show, I'm going to flop. I'm going to go to Boy Meets World.
Oh, no, you didn't.
And we are going to move on. Thank you and good night.
All number one seeds. All right. I mean, listen, I'm not mad about that decision. Yeah. Boy Meets World is a good representative. That's just me, though. I just prefer Kim Possible. I prefer Recess over it. But that's just me.
So, unfortunately, we get another number one seed. Well, not unfortunately, but another number one seed comes out of here. I think it's the right number.
We just like upsets. We're humans. We like the underdog story.
Like I said, I think both shows would have done a great job representing Disney in this bracket. As would have Recess. However, I think in terms of stacking up against maybe the other 2 shows that have already come out, Boy Meets World is going to have a chance, whereas Kim Possible, I don't know if it would. So that concludes the Disney bracket. That was a tough one.